What do? What's good?
So,
What's good, Flick Filter Nation? It's your boys, Big Diesel,
I'm Coach.
and dun 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 dun.
Don't get copywritten.
Yeah.
Um, so got a joke for you.
What's the joke?
What's a joke? Oh, that reminds me of Tyrion. He told a joke to
We got
Sunday.
it.
But what is why is 6 afraid of 7?
Really? Because 7 ain't got it.
No, because the 7 kingdoms were really 9.
Kind of a spoiler.
Ah.
Anyways,
we'll get into that. We'll get into that. In a minute.
What's going on? Yeah. So if you don't know, back like we never left. Back at with another one. We're gonna do Night of the Seven Kingdoms today.
Yep.
Season 1.
Season 1.
Why did it take us so long to do this one?
Why did it, Young Diesel?
Crazy. I don't know. Yeah, this one was hard for me to watch. Yeah. It's not, I'm just gonna say this. It's not like, it doesn't have the same feel as most Game of Thrones, even in the first episode. And don't worry, this is non-spoilery. We'll get into the spoilers at the end. But even like in the first episode, it makes it clear that this is different. This is supposed to be humorous, more comedy, like A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there's just a lot of crazy things that happen. But it's definitely a different feel to it.
For sure. Yeah, but it's offbeat. The humor is offbeat. It's still like earnest story. Like it's very sincere, but then it has those moments where it's like, wait, are we in a different like tonally very different from Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, but it still feels like you're in the same world. It just feels like it's told from a different point of view. That's how I would describe it. It's like visually it's the same.
Go ahead.
Visually it's the same, tonally different, and the types of characters that you follow are very different. Because in this story, you're following someone who isn't highborn, who is of a very low class. You're not following kings or princes or even lords. You're following just everyday folk, and I feel like in a way, regardless of how you feel about the story, it's a little bit more relatable for the average person. It's like, oh, I could see myself in this sort of character, and it's a much smaller story as well. So that just is kind of a quick overview of it, without actually getting into the actual plot or anything.
So, to get into the plot, this is about this guy named Sir Duncan the Tall. Basically, his master passes away.
R.I.P.
And yeah, so basically, he wants to be a knight. So he's trying to convince everybody that he was knighted, but a lot of people do not know of the, or acting like they don't know the guy who was his master. Where he's not really well known, for reasons we'll get into later. But Yeah, so basically he's just trying to be knighted, and the Targaryens come by for a simple jousting tournament, and it goes from there. Pretty much, he has to prove everybody that he's um, worthy enough to be a knight.
Hmm.
So it's all about what makes a knight, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Yeah, and should we get into the other guy?
Egg,
Good old Egg. Yeah, so Egg is
no spoiling.
he comes across um
He's just a bald little kid.
this little bald little scrawny kid, and he just wants to join along with him
He
because
wants to be a squire.
he wants to be a squire because he too wants to be a knight
Yeah.
one day, but you got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Dunk knows very little about him. They know little about each other, but it's kind of like, okay, as a knight, from Egg's point, or sorry, from Dunk's point of view, it's like, well, I'm gonna need the squire, and then from Egg, it's like, well, here's a knight who I can sort of, you know, be in service of.
Yeah.
And so they start this bond, and
It's a rocky relationship at first, but
mhm,
they later on start to be fond of each other.
yeah, and it's interesting
A
because
good kinship.
it's interesting because Dunk is very simple. Like, he's not really educated. He's not like the sharpest, wittiest guy either. But then comparing him to Egg, Egg is kind of the opposite. Where even though Egg is a lot smaller,
Younger, actually.
younger, smaller,
Very younger.
um, but he is. You can tell, like, he doesn't speak the same way as Dunk. Like, you can tell he has some wits about him,
Yeah.
and it's like there's more to Egg than what it appears on the surface. Like, he's not as simple, but he has this level of, like, charm in a sense, and it's like that he's somebody that has a certain level of confidence, and he knows himself at the same time.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, like I alluded to earlier, I didn't really care for this at first. Even now that I watched the whole first season, which is only 6 episodes, um, kind of very easy to watch because they're only 30 minutes or so. But still, it's hard to get into it. Um, so yeah, I wasn't as hyped going into it. Not a lot of people were talking about it. Um, so yeah, and then I ended up watching the first 2 episodes, and I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, sure. There's other stuff I would like to watch rather than this, but that's neither here nor there. It's an okay. I just don't think this show is for me. But if you still want us to do reviews on it, we'll watch the rest of it. Just put it down in the comments. But it wasn't terrible. Let me just be real. It wasn't terrible. It just after Game of Thrones and then House of the Dragon, this, I just don't think this is my type of show. But I still kind of give it a good old try, see how far I can go.
Yeah,
I think the performances they were great. Of course, there's a lot of stuff you should have mentioned.
I did mention.
No, you didn't say there was a full-on serpent.
Yeah,
Out. A full-on serpent.
we interrupt this program to bring you.
No,
Um,
no, we gotta let them know.
nah,
I'm not saying the whole thing, but I'm just saying,
Gotcha.
you know,
We interrupt this program to bring you.
there's nudity in there. So I
Hide
know
your
you.
kids.
Yeah. I know you're trying to not talk about it, but we got to let them know because you don't be saying it.
See,
And then
there are times,
while I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, okay.
there are times where I have warned you and you forgot.
This was not the time. Not that part. But anywho. But anyways, it's not as bad. There's no sex scenes or anything like that, but there is nudity, but not as much as you would think.
Yeah.
It's still pretty tame, but there are some scenes.
Yeah, it's there.
But they use it more in a humorous way.
Exactly. Yeah, it's more of like I don't know if the word is irony.
Yeah.
In a way, because it's like they know what you're expecting out of a Game of Thrones show.
Right.
With this being the third one.
Right.
And it's kind of like we're doing sort of the opposite of what you may think. And with that, I think I like the show overall more than you did.
Yeah.
And I did watch it. I didn't watch it like I kept up with it kind of week by week, even though I did watch a lot of it a little bit late. But I would say there are people who love the show and thought it was one of the best, or like I guess better than I guess where House of the Dragon is going, which it's hard. It's definitely hard to compare those two shows, and I don't think it's fair to compare those two because they're trying to do two different things. But it's like if you like Game of Thrones, at least the earlier seasons, you're probably gonna like House of the Dragon. But that doesn't necessarily mean you'll like this per se, because it is very different. Right. I liked it, but I will say with Night of the Seven Kingdoms, my biggest thing was I felt like it ended on it felt very short with it being 30-minute episodes,
and then they're all six episodes altogether.
Yeah, that's
mostly House of Dragon was 8.
Yeah, 8.
And they were like 40 minutes
or 10. 8, I think. What? I think 8 episodes.
It was 8 episodes. It was 10 at first, but then they crunched it down to 8.
They did. Oh yeah,
for
they did.
budget reasons.
Yeah. So with Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's such a shorter story. Like even the book, it's only like a 300-page book.
Yeah.
And I thought going into it, like this one season covered the entire book, and then when I finally finished, I didn't finish the book. I got 100 pages into it, and it basically, at that point, it stops where season 1 ended. So season 1 only covers the first 100 pages of that book. So
Did you return that book?
I did. I'm interested to see where the rest of the season goes, or the rest of the series goes, because spoiler alert, there are more adventures with Dunk and Egg, which I would hope so, because this kind of felt like an origin story.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like how they meet and then how they got into all these things, and then where it ends up, it's like, okay, now it's like the real adventure begins. Even though
Billy and Mandy.
A lot does happen. Huh?
A Billy and Mandy.
See what you did there. A lot does happen in these first 6 episodes, but to me, it kind of felt like the first half of a season in a way.
Yeah, origin story.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing.
So all in all, performances were great. Writing was okay. Story was just simple. I won't say it wasn't interesting. It was just very simple.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you're expecting from it. I say go give it a watch. If you like Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, see what you think about it. What did you say? Get through to the 3rd episode and then see what.
Yeah, I think the 3rd episode, you're finally like, okay, this is where this season is going. Because in the first 2 episodes, you're really just figuring out the characters in a way. But by episode 3, it's like, now things are like set into motion.
Right.
Um,
So where you want to go from here?
I mean, we can talk about, I guess, because we still didn't really. Um, I would say, hmm, I mean, we're 15 minutes in ish.
Mm-hmm.
We could, I guess, we could go. We could talk about like where we feel like the show, like I guess more so plot details. So if we can get into spoilers, like what are some things that you felt like the show um, did well from like episode to episode, if you can remember, and then like I don't know, what do you hope that they do in future seasons? Like as far as because we don't know where it's gonna go from here, but I'm guessing that they're likely gonna follow the book because they did follow it pretty well from what I read. There were a few changes,
Few changes, yeah.
but there is something I do want to get into that was mentioned as far as like something that they confirmed and that you mentioned to me also. So yeah, as far as I don't know, what did you want to say?
I don't know. I guess all in all, I don't know where they're going. I'm trying not to know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see where it takes us. There was like a scene in Game of Thrones where Joffrey talks about Dunk and Egg or Dunk, really. Man, allergies. Um. So that that was quite all I knew about it. Is that quick reference?
Yeah.
Um, I do watch a lot of kind of breakdowns, but I still am trying to not know too much. So I'm quite interested to see. Okay, let's get into more of back to wars and stuff like that, and battles and fighting and stuff like that. Typical
So
Game of Thrones.
do you think that um, like do you think they need to go deeper in terms of like Dunk because I think from what they show with Dunk, he's not really well trained compared to like
Oh, yeah.
a lot of other protagonists.
They're getting there.
They're getting there. So do you feel like one of your reservations with the show is the fact that they take too long to really get going?
No, it just wasn't that interesting to me. It had nothing to do with that. It just wasn't that interesting to me. It was kind of a simpler story, and I kind of was expecting something deeper,
Mm.
which it's not a bad thing to expect, but at the same time, it's good that they're doing something different. So it's not a bad thing. It's just
It felt very small.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see what you mean.
So
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. There's sometimes where I'm like, when I think of a show like this, I'm like, maybe this could have been a movie. You think it would have been better that way?
then it would definitely be compared to A Knight's Tale.
That's true. And I like A Knight's Tale. That's actually one of my favorite movies.
It's not bad. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies, and I think I like it because it is that like underdog story.
Yeah.
Um,
And this is an underdog story.
yeah.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. What would you want to talk about that is not a crazy spoiler, but light.
I mean, what is light? I mean, one. Uh, who is Dunk? Because we know he's a knight, but then
Is he in that?
is he really? That's the question.
Yeah.
Um, because he serves under somebody who allegedly was a knight, but then we're not even sure if he was really a knight. And then we also find out he wasn't actually.
This is all in the finale.
Yes, all in the finale, by the way.
There's other stuff we could talk about before getting into the finale. I feel like
That's true. But but it helps to know,
like the whole time you're kind of wondering, and even in the books, George R. R. Martin never reveals that he wasn't a knight or
yeah,
was a knight. It's just kind of open ended. Um,
in the books
so
it wasn't, but
yeah,
yes.
so the whole season you're kind of wondering is kind of the same way until you get to the finale and it reveals certain things.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think we can talk about other things as well, like what happens in this story. You know,
Well, he enters well, we mentioned that he enters a tournament. Like the Lannisters are in town. He tries to enter a tournament, but he has to be. Uh, he has to have a sponsor. What is it called?
I don't remember.
But he has to basically get to have a champion, or no, to he's trying to enter this tournament.
But there's some qualifications.
Qualifications that he does not yet meet.
He meets some interesting people.
He meets some people. Got Lionel Baratheon. You should know that last name.
Yeah.
He's a very like charming, whimsical guy. And I feel like him and Dunk, they kind of have this like camaraderie right from the beginning when they meet.
Yeah.
He's probably like one of the more
nicer,
likable characters throughout this show. Somebody that you kind of want to follow and be with.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these other folk like the king's children and the nephews and cousins of all. Like, there's a lot of like, honestly, they're names that are like hard for me to remember. That are like, this is the king's son, and this is the king's other son, and his kids, and then all these kids. It's like the king, I think, has like 4 or 5 sons, and then each of them also has a bunch of children.
Right.
So, yeah, it's. Well, I want to get to because we need to.
I get you. You want to go to the finale.
Not just the finale, but what's revealed midway through.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's not the finale, though.
Yeah, I know.
That's an important. I feel that's an important thing to talk about.
Reveal that before we get into the finale.
That's what I'm trying to. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But I didn't know, like, if you, because you were like spoilers. But I was like, that's a big spoiler though. But I didn't.
Yeah.
The finale to me has less of a big spoiler than.
See, so what you're thinking of and what I know you're talking about, I don't know. Like, yes, I knew early on about this, but I feel like it wasn't a big reveal as, like, I don't know. I thought it was. So you want to reveal it?
Yes, because if they're there this long,
I feel like it's.
Then so we find out the identity of Egg, which I already knew because of before even the show started, I knew because people were talking about it. That he is
spoiled it.
He is one of the king's grandsons. He is an heir. Well, he's not like the next in line, but he's like he's down the line. He's down the line. So he's yeah. So he's
He's a
royalty.
Targaryen.
He is a Targaryen.
And what's his name?
Aegon.
Shocker.
Could not have thought of a different name than
That's
Egg.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's a big reveal. Now I get it that Dunk didn't really know all this stuff, and maybe it was shocking to him a lot more than anybody else. But
Yeah.
I feel like him saying his nickname is Egg
Hmm.
and then shaving his head
Yeah.
was not was not good. And then of course when you watch Game of Thrones and especially House of the Dragon,
Hmm.
there's thousands of people who it's like Jesus. It's a very
Not Jesus.
yeah yeah yeah. It's a it's one of them names that is you know common.
Yes.
common. So yeah, um, yeah. I feel like that wasn't that big of a reveal, but
Nah.
here we are.
Here we are.
But
Um. But anywho, yes, he is. That guy. Basically, he is. I mean, he. It's kind of like he wanted to reject a big part of his identity, but then also it comes. The reveal comes at a very critical point in the show
yeah,
because it's
it
like
is.
had he not spoken up, you know,
Yep,
we probably wouldn't even be still talking about
right.
Sir Dunk. Um, but
But here's the problem I have with Egg. He definitely lies a lot,
yeah,
and then even towards the end, still lying,
still lying.
still lying.
Right. It's like
just
all this happened
like,
and you still lying. It's like all this stuff had to happen.
and then it just,
Didn't even have to happen, but it did happen
exactly,
based
and
on a
then
lie.
now you're just gonna more repercussions for lying again, like you didn't learn from the last time you lied and what happened throughout that.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, he does kind of redeem himself, but then that's just what makes the him lying again piss you off even more because it's
Yeah.
like, bro, I'm trying to root for you, but you're not making a good case for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, um,
Um.
we can get into the spoilers.
Okay.
Spoiler warning for the finale or anything else.
Anything else?
I just say go watch it. If you hadn't already, why are you watching this? But but yeah, yeah. We're gonna get into the spoilers, Loki,
Haki.
and it shouldn't be very long. But
Mm-hmm. So, Dunk and Dunk basically has to defend himself because he um, he strikes what's his name? I'm forgetting all these folks' names, but
right,
Egg's brother is kind of a jerk. Not even kind of, he is. And old girl was about to get her,
you know,
you know,
there's always got to be a love interest.
yeah. And Dunk is defending her as a noble knight should.
I think it wasn't just because he would be a long night, but
Hey man,
that's
say
neither
man,
here
you,
nor there.
hey man, say man.
That's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there. But anywho, um, Dunk did what he needed to do, and because he hit the dude, then it's like okay,
Hit and kicked.
and kicked.
So that's an already. So basically, the rules are if you touch a person of royalty, whatever you touch them with gets cut off. So, um, what's the word? Like, so basically, he should like if the law goes into effect, his hand and his foot should be cut off.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, but they do a trial of 7.
It's trial of 7, which Normally, it would just be like a normal trial by combat.
But he was afraid.
He wanted to do a trial by seven because he was
He
too
wasn't
afraid
gonna
to
win.
face him one on
He
one.
wasn't going to win 1-on-1. Even though Dunk is not a good fighter, probably. But he's just
He's
bigger,
bigger and stronger.
stronger, all that stuff.
So it's like the trial of seven, it had more of a chance because it's 7-on-7.
Yeah.
And other old dude was going to have all the knights and royalty backing up him. And he was counting on Dunk not even being able to get 7 people to fight.
Right, because he's not very likable. Well, not likable.
He's not known.
Not known yet.
Um,
but
then,
thanks to Egg.
But then at the last second, who comes through for Sir Dunk?
Egg. Lying Egg.
No, Baylor.
But why? Aegon got everybody.
He didn't get everybody, did he?
If it wasn't for him, that's what they revealed.
When did they reveal that?
For episode 4.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It was in the details of the talking. Which probably was.
Hey man, it's been a while. The show been out 12 months. Not literally. But
yeah, that would have been last year.
I know. See, I'm exaggerating.
Of course.
Anywho, so yeah.
So basically, stuff happens. The trial of 7 happens, and things happen.
Things happen. Whole flashback episode. Well, episode is most of episode 5 is a flashback. That was probably the best
Pretty
episode
much.
to me.
Probably, yeah. Excuse me. I agree. That was more interesting than anything else. But yeah, you find out his whole backstory. That he's from Flea Bottom.
Shout out Flea Bottom.
He doesn't really know his mother, but he thinks his mother's coming back. He has a friend. They have a weird relationship. I don't think they're, boyfriend, girlfriend, but they say they love each other, but I think it's all cap. Because I feel like they're just not there yet. They're a little younger. I feel like, and then things lead into where she loses her life pretty much, and he almost dies as well, but the master comes in and saves him, and he pretty much just trails him because he got nowhere else to go, and he's trying to get out of Flea Bottom. And I feel like he knew he was trailing him. He was just trying to see how long he would take.
Yeah.
And then, and then he basically, this all happens when he's like blanking out.
Right.
Pretty much during the Trial of 7 fight. So that's
flashback.
That was very convenient. I like how they did that too. But you realize he's kind of, because one of the Dragon Dreamers kind of, oh, that's not even the Dragon Dream. It was something else. But anyways, he basically is starting to hit him with the shield while he's on top of him, and is almost about to terminate him until he says, "I yield," and then that's when everybody it stops pretty much, but not without casualties. So basically, the king, who is it? The king?
He's not a king, is he? He's the prince in no, not Wayne. It's like he's the crown prince, basically.
Okay, so he's basically wearing armor that doesn't fit him because he wasn't thinking he was gonna go into battle. So he wears armor that doesn't fit. So unfortunately, his brother hits him in the head, but because the armor just doesn't fit right, it kind of creates a huge hole in his head, and you know that's the end of him.
Yeah.
Um,
In the way it happens too,
and
it's
that's
like,
kind of what the Dragon Dream was talking about.
yeah. Um, the way it happens too, because it's like the battle's already over, and Dunk is like chilling. He's telling. I
He's
mean,
thinking
he's not.
he's going to be part of.
Yeah, because he's like he basically pledges his loyalty to him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even though Dunk is like he's been beat up and he's barely holding on himself.
He's just really grateful that he came in, because without him, you know, yeah, he probably wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
And then he feels like it's his fault
Mm-hmm.
that he was in there in the first place and he died.
Yeah. So,
Even though the brother also feels guilty as well, because even though he didn't mean to kill him, like it's still looked at as his fault, you know.
yes. And then afterwards, it's a whole fallout in terms of
Yeah, pretty much.
like you're kind of like questioning like why did this have to happen to one of the few guys, because basically people are going to say he was going to be the best king since Aegon the Great, or Aegon the Conqueror. So it's like we got all these terrible kings, and yet the one who was supposed to be good, something tragic and terrible happens in this way that's like wasn't even like it wasn't even supposed to happen like that. It was supposed to be a like he wasn't out of everybody. They weren't even supposed to really touch him for real.
That's true too. Yeah, yeah.
So it's just it's like a very ironic situation, especially because it's like looking at it like looking at Dunk. It's like this had to happen just for him to basically still have a chance of being a knight, and it's like okay, now it's like now you have to prove was it worth it.
Yeah.
And that's a very big thing for him to wrestle with and bear. Like, what is the cost of you essentially going for this thing that he's wanted for so long?
So do we get into it?
Huh?
Do we get into it?
Into what?
Was he a knight, or was he?
Yes, because what's his name knighted him?
I know.
Not his master, the other guy.
Nobody knighted him.
Yeah.
But basically, he's a knight now. Yeah.
He was knighted before the actual. He got knighted before the thing started. Remember? His master. Well, because if you look from the flashback, he wasn't knighted. But I thought.
I don't think so.
Oh, that was somebody else who got knighted.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So he was never knighted, and I don't think his master was ever knighted as well. So it gets to the point of, and still they leave it open ended, because he's like, "Why did you never knight me?" And he takes a short pause, and you think he's dead. He reawakens, and then it just ends right there. So we just assume that he just wasn't knighted, but they could always bring it back and say, "Oh yeah, he was."
Yeah.
It's still kind of open ended the way they did it, but everybody's pretty much assuming that he wasn't knighted, and I think that's their point: is that you don't need to be knighted to be a knight. You, as long as you have the qualities of a knight, you're a knight. It's just like Brienne and Tarth as well. Sometimes we want the title, but even the people that carry the title aren't, are they really, representing right? It's like the same thing as like you calling yourself a Christian, and you're not really living yourself as a Christian. You're still doing crazy stuff, wilding out, behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm. It's like I think of being knighted is kind of like baptism. It's like that's more so the
I
symbol.
like that. Yeah.
It's like that's the symbol behind it. Even it's like okay, if you do all these things as a Christian, but you weren't ever baptized, like are you still a Christian? And I would say being a Christian isn't necessarily about what you're doing. More it's
Exactly.
like what's on the inside, but then
Right.
from the inside, it's like your works or the things you do should be a
Testament.
testament. Yeah,
It doesn't
should be the
actually.
fruit of what's
Yeah, it
on the
doesn't
inside.
actually save you. It's not what gets you to heaven. It doesn't make you any more of a Christian than anybody else. However, it's just kind of representing or like part of your testimony.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. So great comparison.
Yeah, yeah.
I love how my favorite part was when that. So of course he lied again, basically because he wants to. Egg wants to be his squire. Very reluctant. Um, but he just doesn't. After everything that happens, he doesn't want to be, you know, he doesn't think it's best for Egg to kind of come along with him.
Yeah.
Take him away from his family. Um, which is kind of weird because at first his father is like, he wants you to take him, and then when Dunk says, "No, I'm not gonna take him," then they both change their mind. And it's like Dunk will take him, but then his dad says, "Nah, I want him to stay here."
Right.
So then when he shows up,
it was. I think it was because of where he was going to take him. Duncan wanted to take him somewhere. It was like, oh, I don't want him to go here. Or like, I think he wanted him to, like, he wanted the father. He wanted him to be a knight, but not actually. I don't think he wanted him to actually go anywhere for real or do anything for real.
Yeah.
Like, I think he wanted to give him that experience of it, but it wasn't like. It's like, oh no, this is gonna be a real thing. Like, oh, you're gonna live with me, you're gonna do all these things. It's like, no, once it's gonna be a real thing.
He didn't want him like kind of just doing the thing to where he's sleeping. He doesn't have nowhere to sleep and all that stuff. Just sleeping on the road and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, he's about to, knife his brother, and that was kind of a crazy experience too, because he was like about to do it, and then his father's sitting right there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he knew everything that was going on, and then you hear the knife drop. It was a good touching moment. Father and son. Glad he was right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of a sudden, Egg just shows up, and it's like he just kind of goes along with it. So then, when you get to the end credit scene, which is the first end credit scene in Game of Thrones, you realize where he's like looking for him, and he doesn't know where he is. So, did you get to that in the books?
I don't know if the book got to that. If like where he doesn't know where.
It's a change.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was like when I got to it in the book.
I didn't want to spoil it for you.
No. I thought it was a change when I got to the end of the book. I was like, I made sure to read it. So I was like, oh, it looks like in the book he actually knew he was with him.
I think they're going to deal with that in season 2.
Okay.
Because there's still going to be repercussions.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, I think he still will go along with him.
Yeah.
He just wants his blessing or whatever.
Okay.
So there'll be repercussions that Egg, lied again. And that's what makes it frustrating again, that Egg lied again. It's like, dude, just tell the truth. Stop lying. Because it just makes things worse. But it was quite funny. They're like, oh, where should we go? It's like, Um, we could go to Dorne. Egg says, "Let's go to Dorne. I want to go through these hills and over these mountains, and we can go stop at Dorne." Knowing very well that the girl that Dunk was interested in is in Dorne because she had to run away.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "You're not slick. You're not slick."
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's the gist of it. That's kind of how it ends. All in all, it was okay.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite of the Game of Thrones? Nah, but
Would you rate it?
I'll still watch it. Out of what?
5. We've rated shows, yeah.
3.5.
4.
Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, I'd say definitely check it out. But I don't think everybody will like it. Um, you might not. You might like it more than me.
Mm-hmm.
You might like it like he does, or you might like it more than him as well. But oh no, it was okay. It just I don't even think it was that I expected more. It just didn't give me that same feel, and I felt like they were like, oh yeah, but
Gotcha.
um, all in all, if you want us to continue doing the next season, if it gets renewed, I'm pretty sure it'll get renewed.
I'm pretty sure.
Put it in the comments below, and we'll do that. And let us know what you think about it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to go over?
No, man. Just let us know what your highlights were and what you thought of the season overall.
And how you like it compared to the other Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Indeed.
Like, share, subscribe. Look at our posts on social media, all that. Follow us on socials, all that stuff. And yeah, I hope you have a great day, a great night, and stay blessed.